Good day, everyone, and welcome back to Mommy Guide Inc. For those who are new to the channel and you do not know me yet, I am Mommy Lala, and I would like to welcome you to my series for this month of August called Craft Every Day in August, where I will be featuring the basics of a lot of the crafty avenues that I actually have gone into or love the most, right? So, for the past couple of days, I've been doing just that. And please join me as we go through the different basics, crafty basics. Again, purely basic. So, don't expect that it is something like a deep dive, right? And sometimes, like what we did yesterday, it is even I am a basic or a beginner at it, right? So this is really a perfect avenue for us to, go together and learn alongside each other. All right. So of course we have here earliest in the chat today, Linda. Good morning, my friend. I hope that all is well, and I hope that you're feeling much better after almost a week or so of trying to just, let your legs heal, right? And of course, we have Yvette. Hello, good morning, Yvette. This is our dear friend who wakes up very early because she actually has a lot of things to do as a mom, a grandma, and so many other things, right? But she doesn't forget that also health is well. And thus, she has Aquafit in the morning. And so she drops by every now and then, and sometimes even joins us for a little while before she actually has to leave. So if you have not checked her out, this is Yvette of Yvette Olea Creates. Yes, she's an amazing paper crafter, specifically card maker. So if you want to be inspired by that, please do head on to her channel. All right. So again, as I mentioned today, is if you saw the thumbnail for this one, and somehow that's what has led you to this video. So again, thank you. And yes, our topic for today is about calligraphy. All right. So in my channel, you will see a lot of calligraphy videos. I've done several already for the past couple of 4 years, simply because I really want to learn more. But the thing is, normally after that episode, that ends as well. So this time around, I feel that this is the perfect time for me to start, and I will intentionally include this technique moving forward in all the cards that I'll be making. Yes, please do make me accountable, my friends who are in that chat. All right, speaking of accountability, this is my dear friend Roy. Hi, Roy. Good evening, everyone, from our dear friend Roy. He is one of my, in the past, okay, and every now and then still, okay, accountability partners when I want to do something that I need somebody to be accountable for, right? So Roy is not just an awesome, tech person. He's actually also, unknowns to many, a very creative person. Okay, his last episode, okay, on his channel last Wednesday morning for me and Tuesday nights for you was all about improv. So if you are a crafter and you want to actually start your channel, the thing is you're kind of shy. I understand that, right? A bit, because I'm not really very shy, but I know a lot of people who are very shy. And so maybe doing improv can actually help. So if you want to check that out, please head on to my dear friend Roy's channel, Tech Troublemaker. Okay. Oh, it's the shoulder, not the legs. Okay. All right. So it's the shoulder. Sorry about that, Linda. You know how my memory is. It's like the memory of a fish. Yes, and his morning thoughts are terrific, okay, on his other channel called Alt Roy. Okay, so there you go. All right, so let's go now. I know you're excited to start. Okay, so where did I put that? Okay, hold on. Is it on this one or is it on this one? Okay, there you go. So you saw a little bit of, what you're going to be seeing when I, start practicing. Okay, so I have been doing basic okay, many years now, right? So the thing is, you don't really get to master anything unless you practice, right? So it's do what I say, not what I do kind of day to day, because I know that that is what I should be doing. But my favorite excuse is that, I'm a mistress of, what do you call this? I'm a mistress of all things. No, I'm a Jill of all things, mistress of none kind of girl, right? But then, I realized that if I really want to, okay, get to really learn something, I need to practice. And by practicing, it means intentionality, right? So for those who are coming in just right now and you have not even tried calligraphy, right? So this is the perfect place and time for you to start. All right. So what is calligraphy? Okay, so calligraphy is the art of creating beautiful, expressive lettering. Okay, and it's perfect for cards. So yes, if you're a card maker, right? So you don't need to buy, sentiments or stamp sentiments. Maybe you can create your own, right? So invitations, journaling, and so much more. So the possibilities are truly endless. So if you become actually good at it, you can even, make it into a side hustle and accept commission works for like envelopes and invitations and other stuff. All right. So, okay, so again, it's okay, let's start with an elegant history of calligraphy. So, how I wish, okay, not just wish, we will get to that. Okay, I don't know how long it's going to take, but eventually I hope to be able to do that. All right. So, the ancient origins of calligraphy. So, it began over 2,000 years ago in China, okay, with brush and ink on silk and paper. I actually had been gifted by a friend of mine, where I helped organize their wedding. And after their honeymoon, they actually sent back something from China, the original way of how, the Chinese people do calligraphy with a pen, brush pen as long as this one, with a complete set of ink and stuff and paper. It's amazing. It's just up to now, I don't know how to use it. So I probably need somebody who is really a master or a teacher of Chinese calligraphy. So hopefully that will come in the future, right? So again, it's developed in also many cultures, not just China. So you have an Arabic, a Japanese, and even Western kind of calligraphy. All right. So during the medieval Europe, okay, so monks, okay, started using calligraphy in illuminated manuscripts, right? And then finally, now the modern era, okay, it has evolved, okay, from formal scripts to artistic, okay, expressive lettering used in design and crafts today, right? So used to be, this is really, you know, you need discipline because every stroke has to be, kind of perfect, right? So it was kind of nerve wracking. But as the years passed by, and the person who got me into this big time was my daughter, about maybe in 2012, 2013. Um, she started to love, different kinds of pens. Eventually, she chanced upon calligraphy, and then she started to ask me, "Mom, can I have this? Can I have that?" The enabler mother, me, okay, okay, okay. But truth be said, I actually like enjoy watching. Like, wow, these are great stuff, right? I like the inks. I like the different kinds of nibs, but never really got to, you know, be good enough to actually include it into my now I'm trying, right? So I'm just relaxing and then letting it be. I include it in my faith or Bible journaling. All right. So calligraphy in today's crafting, okay? So again, it adds elegance and personalization to wedding invites, right? So I feel this is the most famous application of this, anyway, here in the Philippines, anyway. And then you have greeting cards, planners, and journals, right? You have home decor, okay, and scrapbooking titles, of course. That's how I actually started. And it has become a popular crossover as well with brush lettering and hand lettering. So now it's like all jumbled up. When you say calligraphy, that sometimes also equates to brush lettering and hand lettering, although they're kind of different, and we'll know that in a little bit. Okay? All right. So the basic tools that you actually will need, okay, to do calligraphy. Okay? So for the traditional, okay, so let's try to, bring them into like two categories. Okay? So the traditional, this is the one that you see in, most elegant and formal events like invitations for weddings and stuff. Normally, this is the copper plate. Okay, so the very traditional one. Okay, so for wedding invitations, greeting cards, as I mentioned earlier. And then you have brush calligraphy. Okay, so these are the ones that for us crafters, we are so fond of because we actually have the brush pens anyway, right? So we normally use it for coloring, for titling, and many other stuff. So why not use it for calligraphy as well, right? So you have your brush pens like the brands Tombow, Pentel, okay, Karine, okay, and so many others. And of course, you have your water brushes, okay? So yes, even watercolor are now being used to create hand lettering, right? So, or brush calligraphy. All right. So basically, you use a water brush and then you use the liquid or pan watercolors as well. So for me, I've dabbled in it and I feel that that is the most difficult kind of, somehow informal calligraphy. And of course, other general tools that can help you with is your pencils to act as guidelines. So if you don't have or if you don't want to use, paper with lines, and then of course you need ruler and eraser and practice sheets or dotted grid paper. All right. So I actually will show you that I even used, the math notebook. All right. So for like elementary, high school, you have those math notebooks that have like grids, right? So I actually started with that as well. All right. So let me just go back to the chat a bit before I move a little bit more. Okay. So yes, morning thoughts are terrific. Yes, because Roy is very authentic. Whatever it is, during his morning thoughts, he is able to share it. And in his sharing, somehow, we are really able to resonate more with him. So we see the person behind the tech guide that we see on his channel. Right. So again, thank you so much, Roy, for being here. All right. So, and of course, we have my moderator daughter in the chat. Hello, Sam. Yes, she did used to do calligraphy for fun, but now she rarely has the time because of her thesis. Yes. Please, include Sammy Pai in your prayers as she navigates through the last year of university, and that includes her thesis. And so one wrong move or somehow, okay, may spell the difference between her graduating on time and being delayed a bit. But I always say that, we do our best and then let God do the rest, right? So in God's perfect time, I know it will happen. So I can't ready my handwriting, so making it fancier could only make it worse. All right. That's not true. Okay. Watch me later. We all start somewhere indeed. Okay. You could rewrite your thesis in calligraphy. That's gonna be very difficult, right? Because her thesis is gonna be filled with a lot of numbers and graphs and tables, right? Anyway, because she is into communications research. All right. But actually, Roy, her thesis is more on the tech and I think probably AI. So maybe, Sam, maybe you could reach out to Roy as if Roy is not busy enough, right? So if you do have questions, right? So Sammy, maybe you can reach out to Uncle Roy. All right. Going back to our presentation. Okay. So not that, but this. All right. So again, the kinds of calligraphy, just a reiteration. So for the Western or the Latin calligraphy, you have the Gothic, italic, and the most famous here anyway is the copper plate. So when I was in high school, we were required to actually, learn this. This is part of what we call like practical arts, right? And then you have the it was doubled. Okay, so the next one is this is part of still the East Asian. Okay, so you have the Arabic calligraphy, you have flowing and decorative. Okay, so it doesn't just include letters and numbers, but you have like decorations as well. And then you have the East Asian calligraphy. This is your Chinese, Japanese, Korean brush scripts. And of course, the modern calligraphy that we actually know now, this is more freestyle and created and often with brush pens. All right. Okay, so before we move on to the basic techniques, okay, I do want to showcase or to show you some of the things that I actually have. All right, so for me, learning, part of the learning process for me, okay, again, we all have different ways of, learning. But for me, it always includes, of course, social media or YouTube, the number one in everything, right? So if we want to research anything or look for something, okay, so the first thing we do is to go to YouTube, right? And search, okay? So for me, on top of the videos, oftentimes for me to learn, I really need to be able to read it. So sometimes I would print it, and if there are books that are available, then I try to go like to secondhand bookstores, or I would wait for it to become on sale, right? So I will show you some of the books that I actually have, and somehow has helped me, okay, help me love this, but still, okay, the actual learning and being mastering rather the technique is to actually practice, but at least it's already there when I need it. So in everything, in all the crafty stuff that I have gotten into, it's not just about me perusing the internet. I actually even have printed materials like books. So in our craft hub, okay, the Joyful Crafters Club hub, I actually do have a crafty library where all of the different things that I've been showcasing to you this month, I actually also have a ton of books and references for. All right, so this is one book that I really like. Okay, so if you are going to start with like the very West traditional, so this is a copper plate calligraphy. This is what it looks like. If you can see, it's very even. Everything is in place. So it's like my OCD self, all right, is so pleased at looking at this, right? So this is a book that I love because the way it is explained is so easy. And it's very well described step by step. As you can see, I even have, highlights on how to actually navigate through it. It's not such a very thick one, and then it also includes some grid sheets that you can use to maybe photocopy for your own use, all right, and then practice. Okay, so this is one, Copper Plate Calligraphy by Dick Jackson. I actually have links to this on my Amazon shop. Yes, Mommy Guy does have an Amazon shop. So if you go to my Amazon shop and you look for books, okay, so you would see most of this book. So if you are based in the US, then Amazon shop is the way to go. But if you are based here in the Philippines, I will be linking to some of the links that are actually available here in this side of the globe. Again, only if you want to. And yes, the links would probably be, most of the time, are affiliate links. And they do give me a little bit of a commission if you actually use those links to purchase anything. But again, you don't need to. All right. So Walter, this is a book from Walter Foster. Okay. It's a calligraphy and lettering design. So again, what I'm showing you right now are the books for like the more traditional kind of calligraphy. All right. So this one I like because, it really is quite big, and it does show you also how to do the strokes. Okay, like this one first, followed by this, followed by that. But there is no like step-by-step instruction, unlike this book. Okay, so but then again, I find that this is also a very good reference, okay, because it shows you actually, the different kinds of classic calligraphy look. Okay, and then there's this one that says calligraphy in 24 hours. I was so intrigued. Oh, in 24 hours, I can do calligraphy? All right, okay. So it's by Veiko Kesper-Sachs. Okay, I hope I'm saying that properly. I'm butchering his name. All right, so this actually includes core techniques, alphabets, and projects. Again, this has, so many flourishes on top of the main letters. Do you see? There's so many flourishes. Okay, so I find that very, very, cute. Again, also, there's like a step-by-step instruction. Okay, it also helps, gives you some other additional stuff, like if you want to create borders, and then it also includes like family groups, the lessons. Okay, so again, okay, give you inspiration as well and sample projects that you can actually create. Okay, as a crafty output. Okay, so this is again this one. It's calligraphy in 24 hours. All right, so a next one. Okay, so this is Gay Godfrey Nichols Calligraphy. This is tools and techniques for the contemporary practitioner. All right, so I find that this is kind of like a library, like everything about, calligraphy in one book. So you have the basics, hands, design, and decoration. Even digital calligraphy is actually explained in this book. All right, so there's a ton of inspiration to look at. Right, so if you have a downtime, sometimes I would bring this book when I go to, my doctor's appointment or in the car, so that if I get stuck in traffic, okay, I have something to read. All right, and then you have another one very similar to that, but this one is Calligraphy Bible, a complete guide to more than 100 essential projects by Mary Ann Grabenstein, okay, consulting editor. Okay, so let's go through the book and see. So this one, okay, that just it's a very, it has this what do you call, section where from preparation, if you like the step by step thing, and then what do you call this? How do you hold the pen? And stuff like that. How do you make a mark? So this is a beautiful book, and at the same time, you can even, there are pages that they added that you can use for practice. But me, I normally do not want to, practice on the actual book. So I would get, as practice notebook. I'll show you later, and that's where I do it. And of course, at the same time, at the back, it will show you some projects that you can do, and some inspiration. There's even a gallery, all right, at the back. Okay, and then of course you have this celebration calligraphy, right? So because you want to actually use this calligraphy for the many different occasions, right? So this one goes beyond just, showing you how to do it. It actually shows you, like, for example, for weddings, right? So which one do you do a calligraphy with, right? So you can actually just do the monogram. All right. So, and then also what the copper plate, as I mentioned, is the most famous, but you can also have like some alfresco capitals. So even this one, like, even fun, borders and embellishments, and even for Halloween. So it does have, different inspirations, again, for different occasions. And so for crafters, this might be a good book for you for reference. So it's by Ruth, okay, because it has complete instructions and templates for special occasion alphabets, borders, and motifs. All right. So again, it's Celebration Calligraphy. Okay. Again, I know a lot of people probably do not buy books anymore. Everything is digital. It's just that I really love the feel of paper, the smell of books, flipping through pages, right? So I actually love it. But then the thing about actual physical books, they do actually eat up space, right? And of course, you have to take care of them. All right. So the art of calligraphy lettering is, again, this is by another book from the Walter Foster Company. Okay. Again, I like that it's kind of huge, and so it's easy to see, the different steps, okay, and the samples. Because, as we age, our eyesight becomes a little bit, you know, it becomes a little bit more difficult to go through stuff, and it does have, practice sheets like this, which I don't really write on. Rather, I would probably photocopy. Anyway, it's for my own use, right? So it's not for selling or anything, just so I can practice, and that is absolutely fine, right? So this is another great reference, okay? It's a Walter Foster book called The Art of Calligraphy and Lettering. All right. So those are more or less the books for, like, the very formal traditional one. Now I'm going to show you some references, okay, that has to do with the more what do you call this? The more crafty, more modern, okay, calligraphy or lettering, okay, for us. So this is Modern Lettering Handbook, okay. It is Hinkler, okay. So I love it because it has, this kinds of, okay, pages. So this one is really like fun, different kinds of lettering. So no longer the very traditional ones, right? So if you are wondering, like, how do, sometimes we buy, oftentimes crafters, we buy ephemera, or we print, titles and fonts. So you can actually do it on your own with the use of, the modern calligraphy. So if you see, the letters are, a little bit more funky, okay, more decorations, some actually, like for this one is for Halloween. So this is more the kind that we normally would use for our paper crafting, for our cards, and even our scrapbook. Okay, another one about modern calligraphy is this one by Molly Suber Thorpe. Okay, so everything you need to know to get started in script calligraphy, plus 20 DIY projects for weddings, parties, blogs, and more. So normally when I look for reference books, of course, I wanted to have that very basic process. So sometimes, other books just say it better, in the sense that it resonates with you better because that's your workflow. That's how you work. That's how you think, right? But I also want that there are examples so that I can find inspiration. Maybe it's something similar to what I want, to achieve, right? So this one also does that one. So it does give you like samples of, like there's Project 18, okay? So it shows you how to use calligraphy to actually put names on your envelopes, okay, or your bands for your cards, okay, or put, what do you call that? Monograms, stuff like that. So this is another awesome, reference that you would want to check out. Okay, again, only if you are like me who likes to have like physical reference like books. All right, I'm sure there probably are some that actually have this in their like digital versions. And now you have another book called Secrets of Brush Calligraphy. Right? So again, look at that. This is now the kind of calligraphy that I think my daughter actually is more into. Okay, kind of funky, right? So still you see that there's, thick strokes, thin strokes. The basic concept is still there, but they just look a little bit more different, so to speak. And like the other books that I've shown you, they also give you, sample projects, okay, so that you can, practice and be inspired to do so. And of course, there's a part where you break the rules and some secrets, right? So about how you can actually create something like that. And it has pages for you to practice, okay? It even has this tear out parts, okay, at the back where you see tear parts, okay, which you can actually remove and then, go over it so that you can, somehow copy or be inspired by it, okay? So again, look at this one. So it uses brush lettering to create not just the sentiment or the words, but even look, it's shaped like a heart, right? So this one as well. You make me smile, right? Relax, okay. So it also includes that one. So this is a very nice reference. And then there's brush pen lettering, okay, by Grace Song. Okay, so this is a step-by-step workbook for lettering decorative scripts and creating inspired styles. So look at this pen, okay? So that pen is actually one that I have. All right, so this is it. It's called actually by Artline Sticks. So again, another kind of brush pen that you can easily find. So it looks like that. So it does look like Lego pieces, right? So that you can actually put together like so. Okay, it's just fun. All right, so by Grace Song. So she starts out with beginner tools as well. All right, so very basic. So whether you're going for the very classic traditional ones, so but then instead of the nib pen, all right, so you use your brush pen. Okay, so I like that somehow it gives you that, let's say if you've been used to using nib pens, so how do you transition to brush pen? So it shows you that, and so I love it as well. And more, it even shows you how to do those kind of ombre looking, calligraphy, okay, modern calligraphy. And then of course ends up with some, project inspiration as well. And then this one by Kirsten Burke actually is nice because it's a year in calligraphy. So I said, wow, this is perfect if you want to actually intentionally. So it's an inspirational monthly journal and workbook to develop your creative calligraphy throughout the season. So isn't it that nice? So I actually has tearaway parts that I started. Okay, I don't know what year this was, so I tried using that. Okay, but never really got into it. But I really actually removed and intentionally want to, these are the practice pages. So let's see. All right, so it does give you like every month, okay, inspiration. So now is, let's say, August. All right, so for the month of August, okay, so she does, okay, give you like project ideas. All right, and then that you can apply your, calligraphy. So it's not just always just practice. Sometimes you want to practice, but so what's the use for this, right? So you do want to see it being used in specific actual project. So this is a good, book as well by Kirsten Burks. And the next two books are actually by a local author, illustrator, artist, and she is Abby C. right? She's actually pretty young, but she is such a talented, artist. She has the ABCs of handmade lettering. All right, so she created this one. Okay, so she was, if not the first, one of the very first, Filipino artist, okay, calligrapher who actually came up with a book, okay, and that we are so inspired. And then she asked some of her other friends here based in the Philippines to actually share some of their amazing work. Like this is from Risa Hill. Okay, so look at that. So beautiful. This is from Patrick Cabral. So this book also, okay, of course, Googly Gooey's. Okay, so there you go. Right. So these are a lot. This is a again, if you are in the Philippines, definitely check this out. And of course, after that, she came up with a part two. Okay, so this is the complete photo guide to lettering calligraphy. And I love it because it's like a more complete and more detailed book, right? And it includes step by step instructions and photos. Just a fast flip through. Yes, so it does give you some practice sheets and even, projects that you can actually show you how to digitize. Of course, another artist, okay, although she is based in the US, she's Filipina, Christine Herring. They're actually really good friends. And she's very talented as well. If she actually has her own line of stamps as well. I think the name of our company is Creative Explorers. So you might have heard of those stamps. Okay, so it's actually by Christine Herring. So there you have a lot of also inspiration, okay, from here as well. Again, using hand lettering, not just so she can uses both combination of pen nib, okay, or nib pen, and of course your brush. And then you have these two books, okay? So they're from the same author, Jenny Doe. Okay, so she has the creative lettering techniques and tips from top artists. And then she came up with more creative lettering. So this is the part two, right? So it does look like that, right? So a ton of inspiration. So it's nice to, if you're looking for more inspiration, right? So again, the internet is such a great resource for this. But as I said, I am a person who actually likes to have like the physical book and actually hold it, right? So I will just put them down because they're getting a bit tall. Okay, and then we have here the fun and friendly. If you have kids and you want to try them, you want to let them try calligraphy as well. This is again a nice book. Okay, so this is by Virginia Lucas Hart. Okay, so it's nice because it's a hands-on guide for creative lettering for kids, right? So not probably for the very, very tiny kids, but as long as they can actually already hold the pencil quite well, probably maybe elementary school like that, higher elementary school. So this is perfect them. All right. So almost there, my friends. And then, of course, this one is more really now handwritten or hand lettering. So really different kinds of, designs, okay, ways to, create different fonts. Okay. So this is how you actually grasp your pencils, and it shows you different kinds of fonts that you can play around with and use for, your projects. And then you have here by Christina Vanco, okay, called Hand Lettering for Everyone. It's more of a workbook. Okay, so it does give you inspiration prompts like that. So if you're looking for something like that, it does give you a little bit of intro, and then you're supposed to do it yourself, right? So a lot of blank pages for you to actually, practice. All right. And then you have this one that says hand lettering for relaxation. Yes, actually, because when you do handwriting, calligraphy or hand lettering, you have to be very intentional. And I think that's one of the reasons why I never really mastered this, because I am very impatient. It's like when I write, so writing, your handwriting is very different from calligraphy and hand lettering. So they say that hand lettering calligraphy is more like drawing, not really handwriting. So you have to relax, you have to breathe, you should be patient. Okay, you don't need to rush, right? So it's actually really a very, mindful activity, so to speak. So in doing so, you have to let go of all the worries and just to focus. And when you do so, somehow you relax in the end. So it is filled with inspirational, workbook activities for creating beautiful lettered art. This is by Amy Lata, okay, the founder and designer of One Artsy Mama. All right, so if you are into doodling and stuff like that, all right, she also shows you how to create some of these, designs, not just the letters, right? So if you are a crafter, really absolutely check this one out. Again, that's from Amy Lata. And last but not the least for tonight, my friends, is this book by Jess Park. Okay, so yes, so if you're done and you're very brave, like what I saw Christina Werner does, when she does her calligraphy, she actually uses, brush or watercolor brushes to create it. And it's like, wow, I cannot even do it with pens that have harder needs, easier to control. More so to do it with watercolor, right? But it's hopefully, something that I can do in the future because I really like the look, right? I'm afraid of watercoloring, but I like the look because I feel that it's not as easy, to create that, right? But this also gives you a lot of, how to position your pen. It's and also some, practice ideas on how to achieve, okay, and then also projects, right? So again, this is a step-by-step workbook, okay, so for painting, embellished scripts, and beautiful art by Jess Park. All right, so basically that is, going through some of the actual, physical resources, okay, that you can find out there. Okay, so I will try to include all the links later on. All right, so now moving on, okay, to, oops, not that one. Okay, so basic techniques now. Okay, so in the books that I showcased for quite a long time, okay, so you've seen that most of the books, or if not all, okay, would show you like the basics. Okay, so how to's and stuff like that. Okay, but first and foremost, you have the grip and the posture. So you do need to relax, a relaxed hold, and steady wrist. Let's see if I can actually do these things later on. All right, of course, the pressure control. For me, this is where I really have a difficulty in. Again, they say that it's muscle memory. That's why you need to practice, because again, it's not the same as the way you do your write stuff, which is for me like hallelujah, because if it's the same way, no one would be able to read my calligraphy, because my handwriting is absolutely like chicken scratch. I kid you not, right? So I can actually take down things so fast, but will I be able to read it back to you, or will you be able to read it? That's the question. But again, as they say, calligraphy and hand lettering are very, very different. And so I'm very inspired, right? So again, consistency, right? So even spacing between letters. So that's very important as the aesthetic, right? So if when you look at it and they're not evenly spaced, unless that's the look you want, then it's not as good. Okay, excuse me, I just need to cough. Sorry about that. I think my throat is dry. All right. And then you have guidelines. All right. So for basics of calligraphy, just like when we were learning how to write, remember those blue, red, blue lines? We have something like similar to that as well for calligraphy. Okay. So I will not be like diving into that very specifically, because you can actually find a lot of those sample pages on the internet, or if you buy the book, they will have that for you. But remember that those guidelines actually will help you maintain letter height and the slant. Okay, so if you would see that the calligraphy lettering or hand lettering, they're rarely straight. Most of the time, they have a specific angle to it, right? So, and then of course you have your practice strokes. So master the basic line before you do the full letters. Of course, being me who's very impatient, I had to skip those very basic stuff when I was a beginner. I said, no, let me see the letters, let me make a word. Right? So, but remember, okay, in everything, the basics is very important. Are very important, right? So try to remember the Karate Kid, right? So the wash in, wash out, like that, right? So he couldn't understand why he had to like clean the car so many times. So I'm absolutely dating myself, but I know that this has been revived as a series of some sort, right? So because there's a purpose for it, right? In anything we do, whether it be in sports, in life, the basics are very important. And so even as a milestone in life, right? So before one can walk, one has to learn how to crawl. And so if you try to actually skip those milestones or basics, in the future, it will actually somehow, what do you call this, show the learning gap, so to speak, right? So even though somehow before my kids would like, wow, Sammy could already walk, no, I'd still let her crawl. Okay, because there will be learning gaps along the way as you progress, right? So again, the basics are there for a purpose and a reason. It makes mastery even, better. It's just that again, for me, okay, it's like I want to go through so many, as I mentioned. Okay, do what I say, not what I do. All right, kind of thing for me here. All right. Next. Okay, so again, beginners just like me, although I've been doing this for quite a while, but I still consider myself an utter beginner because I fail to follow and practice. Okay, I think I have gone down to, the basics of, in terms of following the instructions. I think I'm okay with that now. Okay, the problem now is practice. So I need to actually intentionally find time to practice at least several minutes or an hour a day. That was what teachers, yes, with an S, I have gone through many books, many classes. They are brilliant teachers. So the problem is not my teachers, it's me, right? So I really need to spend more time practicing. Okay. So again, you remember, athletes, they don't become like Olympic medalists, gold medalists, because just because they want to. They spend tons and tons of hours practicing just the same routine, the same flip, the same whatever, right? So the same thing with calligraphy and the other things that, as crafters or paper crafters, okay, we want to do. And then of course there's the concept or the materials, right? So for calligraphy, you need to use smooth, high quality paper to avoid fraying pen tips, right? Especially if you are using the brush pens. So those have very, very fine, brush, right? And so if you are using, let's say, handmade paper or a textured paper, so that would fray the nibs of your brush pens faster. So and they're kind of pricey as well. So make sure that you do practice and use, very smooth, high quality paper. Again, there are those that are very, very shiny, and then they don't handle like markers quite well. So you do have to check. All right. And then of course you have to work in good lighting, with good lighting. All right. So that you see if, it's within the lines, they're still okay. And of course, watch ink flow. Don't overload the nibs. Okay, this specific suggestion or tip is for those who actually use pen nibs. Okay, I will show you what those are in a bit. Okay, and of course the don't press too hard. Okay, because whether you're using the pen nibs or the brush pens, okay, this will make the lifespan of your materials or your nibs, okay, actually less. All right. And finally, for storage, okay, so your nibs and dip pens, yes, you need to clean them and dry immediately after use. Because if you let the inks, stay in the nibs, remember there's a hole there, then it would clog it. And normally you could still remove it, but it's gonna be harder to remove. And sometimes in doing so, cleaning it hard like that, you can damage the nibs as well. So clean as you go, so to speak, would be a great practice for you. Now, how about the brush pens? So for the brush pens, store them horizontally like this. Okay. So I think you've seen yesterday how I actually store like most of my pens. So you would see it's like that. Okay, so they are in a tray like so. Okay, and I store them based on like colors or brands. This one is more for calligraphy. So they are together. So like that. Okay, and then for inks, okay, these are for your nib pens. Okay, seal tightly and store in a cool, dry place. Remember, most of these inks do have pigments, do have color, and they're very much affected by light, especially, sun. So make sure that you store them not near windows where, during the day, okay, that it will be, sunlight would hit it because eventually, it would, damage or it would make the color not as bright. Okay. And so, okay, and the paper as well, store flat in a folder or portfolio so that it doesn't get crumpled, right? Some project ideas, of course, you can create coat art prints, like some of the stuff that was mentioned as project inspiration in some of the books that I showed you a while ago. You can actually also use or create custom name place cards for, let's say, events, and then envelope addressing for special events. And of course, watercolor calligraphy for greeting cards and decorative journal headers, right? And to wrap it up, okay, so for anyway, the PowerPoint presentation, but not yet this live stream. Okay, so remember that calligraphy is actually an art, combination of art plus the technique plus patience, a ton of patience, right? And of course, tools matter, but practice is the key. All right. And of course, please tag your practice work with hashtag CEDA, hashtag CEDA 2025, or hashtag craft everyday in August so we can actually see it and, get to be inspired by your actual work. And yes, feel free to reach out if you have any questions at Mommy Guide Inc. I'm Mommy Guide Inc. on all the socials. All right. So let us start now with the practice. All right. So this is okay. I just want to drink for a while. Yes, Wims is here. Hi, Wims. Yes, Wims is saying hi to everyone. Hope I'm not super late. No, it's okay. The beginning was just a run through of a little bit of history. You know how it is, some tips and tricks, and of course some of the references that I actually have in the center, okay, or in the club hub. All right. So let's start with doing practice, okay? So let's start with the paper, okay? So when I started, okay, my very first teacher was a scrapbooker like me, a dear friend, okay? Her name is Aurora Lim. There you go. And that time, that was early, like I think 2011, 2012. This was what she asked me to use. It's a math notebook, right? So you know what the math notebook looks like, right? It's grid like this, right? So this is where she let me start. And she let me start by doing first with just pencil. Okay, doing, this practice lines and this one and just circles, half circles, stuff like that. Okay, and then eventually I started using these are nib pens already. So this one is actually with a nib pen. Okay, so if you can see, nothing is the same. Every line looks different. So that's how bad I was in the beginning. I think I'm still a little bit like that, right? Because again, if you don't have practice, you will never really, get to be better at it. Okay, so there are actually like 7 strokes that you need to master for the minuscule, or the minuscule is the word they use for calligraphy to mean the smaller letters or the lowercase letters. Majuscule, okay, is actually this one. So majuscule refers to the big letters. Okay, minuscules for the small letters. Okay, so this practice papers sheets are actually penned and prepared by Faith Art and Letters. She used to be a student of mine when she was in high school, elementary high school, and then when she graduated, okay, this became one of her hobbies, and now the teacher is now the student. All right, so she actually did a class for us before the pandemic hit, and this I still have some practice sheets that I can actually use for today. So you could reach out to her. Her name on Instagram, okay, on all the socials is Faith Arts and Letters. Her actual name is Faith. Okay, so that's why it's Faith. Okay, come on. Faith Art and Letters. So whenever I have like special events, I'm asked to do, let's say, a card or several sets of cards, and I need to put them in envelopes. I always ask Faith to do the commission work for doing the calligraphy for the envelopes because she is really, really good. All right. And okay, so again, I'll show you some of, all right. Really, really bad, my friends. These are actually, oh, look at that. Okay. And then, see, look at that. Okay. I tried even doing, some verses. I practiced with some verses. Okay. And then the next pages are going to be for my moderator daughter, Sami Pai. Okay. As you can see, she actually, even her handwriting is absolutely better than mine. This is how she started. And then look, she is more meticulous and she is more diligent. See, she even added dates onto each one. So practice day 1, October 16. See, like downstrokes, upstrokes, upstrokes diagonal, mix of downstroke, okay, upstroke and downstrokes, right? So, and then she's for her day 2. Okay, and oh, by the way, I realized why yesterday while we were doing the coloring with Doc Dinky, the reason why her colors were off because I actually had green screen turned on my camera, and since I didn't have a green screen background, so it made the colors really off. So now you can actually see what the actual colors are, right? So these are some of, Sami Pai's, work. And then she realized that what she liked best was, those letterings that kind of jump, right? So they're not really like straight. While I, on the other hand, prefer the look of, what do you call this? Oh my gosh, what's the name? Okay, hold on. Copper plate. There you go. Copper plate, right? So the copper plate, the very traditional one. All right. So There you go. And then this one, I actually did just earlier. I was trying to write Linda's name, but I ran out. But the timer eventually shut down, so I had to. Okay, so this is what I did later on. So if you are a beginner, let's say you're a student, you don't really have, you know, you have limited means, so to speak. So don't spend much on, papers and stuff, right? So start with what you have. Okay, so if you have something like a grid or a dotted notebook, then you can start with that. Even your math notebook, that probably no more of the most of the time you don't really use up all of the things, right? So you can use the extra pages that you left over from the previous, school year. Okay, and so if at this point you have something that you could use to practice alongside me, then I would really love for you to actually join me. Okay. And okay, let's see what we can create tonight. Okay. So hold on. I will just, okay, let me see. Is this letter C? Okay, letter C. I will just, okay. Let's go to this one. Okay, so you can see my tummy. My tummy. All right. Okay. It's blurry. Come on. Okay, maybe I could. It's not. It's not focusing. Okay, so maybe I should write something. Okay, hopefully when I write something onto this one, it will start. Okay. Oh, maybe it's too high, that's why. Okay. It was okay a while ago when I was setting up. I don't know why now it kind of doesn't focus. Anyways, if it doesn't want to focus, let's not belabor that. Okay, maybe it doesn't want that. Okay, so let's start with the. Okay, so let's start with the pen nib. Okay, so you can have a practice sheet like this. There's so many out there in the, in the interwebs. Okay, as practice sheets, so you can have something like this, as you can see. All right, so it's too bright. Let me see if we can lower the brightness so you can see the lines. Okay, no, not. How can I do this? Okay, there you go. So if you can see, this have practice lines. Okay, it's very faint. Okay, so but you have several lines there. Okay, that you can tell you. Okay, or you can use as a guide. Want to do your okay letter or calligraphy. So normally this is what, okay, those lines would like. So this main line, the one in the middle, is actually your writing line. Okay, and so that is where you actually start, okay, with your minuscule or your lowercase. Okay, and then you have the ascenders for those that have, tails that go up, and then you have the for those that have tails that go down, right? But basically everything will be from here. All right, so you have the T and D line because that is where your letter T and your letter D, okay, what do you call that? Lines would actually, um, you want them to be over there. All right, so you can start with this, okay, and just copy from the books, or okay, you can actually, and there are also, writing practice materials like this. This is from Calligraphy Nerd. Okay, it's available locally. So it actually is in black. So if you have like metallic pens and stuff, right? So this is could be a great, you know, this is more lettering, right? So it's also nice. So it has lines in black. Okay, and then you have another one from Life After Breakfast.ph. Okay, in coordination with IFEX, they came up with calligraphy pads like this, where it actually also shows you some of the basics and inspired, lettering that you can do with it as well. All right, you can even do like doodling, right? So this is more just plain. So it comes in gray and darker gray, right? So, but basically, what I do with it is more of, I use it for card making, right? As card fronts or something like that. Okay, and then you also have the blank slate, again from Life After Breakfast.ph, together with coordination with IFEX. So this is 300 GSM 25 sheets. So this is available locally, right? So this is very thick, right? So definitely could be a card front. Okay, it's very black. Okay, so you can also use for your calligraphy. This, on the other hand, is more like a copy paper thickness. So you can, practice on white, on black, whatever it is you feel like. And this is a fairly affordable practice sheet from Saved. Okay, so I was able to buy this from one of the local bookstores called Fully Book. Okay, it has actually it's very smooth. Okay, you want it to be actually really, kind of very smooth. All right. So let's start. So for today, okay, I will be using, the practice sheets provided for us during our class by Faith Art and Letter. Okay, so for the first part, I want to practice, the small letters. Okay, so this is how the A, so normally, before we start with the letters, so let's start with, I have blank pages here. Okay, start with, so that everything is very, very basic. Okay, so let's start with that. All right. So let's start with the nib calligraphy. So this is a nib pen. So if you can see that you have the pen holder like so. Okay, so your pen holders can look like this. Okay, or I forgot to clean this one. Hold on. I will just clean the one I used a while ago. Okay. Okay, so normally I just dip it in a water. Okay, so this is another nib pen. I mean pen holder. Where is So there's also one that is kind of what we call oblique, right? So there's one that's oblique. Okay, so that you don't need to remember the angle because it's already angled. So for beginners, so the teacher said it's actually easier for beginners to use the oblique pen holders. That's why I got them as well, right? So let's try using that. Okay, and this. Okay, so the next thing that you need, of course, for nib pen. Okay, so this is the nib pen, my friends. Okay, are the actual, what do you call this? Nibs, right? So let's go grab a nib. So I do have different kinds of nibs. All right, so let's just use whatever actually I have here. All right, so let's use this one. Okay. So there are like grooves over there, and then you will just push it in like so. Okay. And then the same thing with this one. Okay, so we'll just choose a nib. Okay, and then just put it in. Okay, like so. There you go. Okay, so this is how you actually start with a nib pen calligraphy. So once you have your pen holder and your nibs, okay, the next thing you need to do is to choose an ink. Okay. Um Hello, Ati Falyar Fridi. Alright, Salar. I don't know actually. I don't understand. So, but anyway, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for watching. If you are, could you kindly share where you are coming from and watching? All right. So, I do have some awesome inks that I have, bought in the past. These are Dr. Martens, India ink. India ink are very pigmented, very beautiful. Okay, and I have them in various, different colors. Okay, another kind of ink that I have is what you call this one is a waterproof and calligraphy ink from Diamine. Okay, the nice thing about this one, it is like this one is gold, so it's the finest quality acrylic ink, ideal for craftsmen, for artists, and for school. Okay, so for this kind, if you can see, it looks white. So the pigment is down below. So you do need to like, shake it, shake before you actually use it. Okay. And then of course for like beginners, normally you can buy inks like in stuff like this. So you see this compared to this, right? So this has a, smaller opening. This is big one. So if you are a beginner, it's easier to get, ink onto the nib with this one. But the thing I like about this one though, it has dropper, right? So since it has a dropper, I can just simply put the ink onto the opening of my nib easier. But this with this one, you actually, dip it. Okay, so whatever it is you have, then that would be fine. And then you have gum arabic. Okay, so normally this one, okay, so they use it to, thicken the ink if they're very, very, if they're not so thick enough, right? And of course, I did used to have a pen cleaner, but then I realized that, just, a little bit warm water or tap water would be good enough. Okay. And then there's also this silver mica, silver ink, okay, from Kuretake. I don't think I've used this yet. So maybe we'll try to use that today. All right, so there are many brands, many kinds of inks available out there in the market. All right, so let's see. Okay, and Wim says, watching in the background while putting Mira to sleep. All right. Okay, go ahead, Wims, because actually I really just want to, practice tonight. Okay, so what is this one? Oh, this is silver mica. Okay, so let's see what it would look like. So if it's silver mica, then probably I won't be able to use it for white. So maybe we can't use this just yet. All right. So let us do, what do we want to practice? Okay, so maybe let's practice with this. Okay, so let's start with, so this book actually, the one from Dick Jackson, it tells us that there are actually 7 strokes that we need to practice, okay, before we actually continue on with, okay, so normally if I use this kind of ink, I use this to actually load it with ink, and then I would glide it towards the sides to remove the excess. Okay, if you can see, okay, so the opening is already loaded with ink, right? So I can start, okay? So, and then this stroke is just going down, okay, with about, a 45-degree angle. So since this is just a regular, math notebook, okay, so the angle might not be right, but that's fine, because let's say if you are an utter beginner, right? So maybe you don't have the materials and stuff, all right? So if you can see, when I do that, okay, the pen, if I push it down, the pen will open. Come on, come on. The pen will open. Okay, and when the pen opens, then the okay, so the ink will be released. Okay, so I think I didn't put enough over there. Okay, check. Okay, so going down. Okay, so going up is very thin, so this one's going down. Okay, so let's try going down. Okay, I want to show you that it's gonna open. All right, so you see that opening over there. So when you put it on your paper and then you put pressure, do you see? Do you see the legs of those? That one open, and then it will unload the ink. Right? So open, okay, press, okay, down. So they say that when you're doing this, the downstrokes, okay, so the edges, okay, have to be a little bit like, okay, let me see if I can just zoom in on this further. So I don't need to lift it. Okay, I think I can't anymore. So that's how you do the downstroke. Okay, so no more ink. So that's the thing though with nib pen, you need to load it with ink, right? So you do the downstroke. So when you're doing it, okay, they say that, okay, so do not, okay, so when you do this, you glide without putting pressure. So this is what it's gonna look like. You see, it's very thin. Okay, so for downstrokes, it has to be heavier stroke, bigger lines, heavier lines. So you make sure that before you move the pen, that you actually put pressure on it, put pressure in it downwards, and then move. And then before you release, okay, you stop and then move up. Okay, move the pen up. Because what happens? So if you go down, okay, you put the pressure down, okay, and then before you reach the end, you already lift. So you will have a light stroke at the end. Okay, so you try to actually, again, just make sure that you remove the pressure at the same. See, the angles are different. Again, this is just, more for showing you the different kinds of like pressure. So if you go down, so we'll go from this point to that point. So put pressure down, up. Put pressure down, up. So you see, very consistent. Okay, put pressure down, up. Okay, it's just that no more ink, right? So again, what happens if you, okay, so if you, okay, don't put pressure yet enough, and then you already glide down, and then some way halfway through you open it up, so you will see that there is a very thin line at the top. It means that you already moved without actually putting pressure first. On the other hand, if you're already you put pressure in the beginning, and then before you reach the end you lift it, okay, and then you'll have thinner lines at the bottom. So to have consistent line, make sure that, okay, you put pressure, you go down, remove. Pressure down, remove. Okay, so we are no more ink. All right, so that's the first stroke. Okay, so the second stroke for the minuscule is this stroke. Okay, so you have going up. Okay, and then when you're like after the line, okay, after the turn, then go down. Okay, go up. Very okay, so for me that is the challenge for the light strokes, right? So the what do you call this, the downward strokes, the heavy strokes for me are easier because that's my normal, I think, pressure. But the up strokes, okay, so the lighter strokes, it's a muscle memory, so they say. So go up very very light, almost just touching the paper. Okay, and then, okay, so go up. Okay, have I loaded it? Okay, I think not. Right. So go up. Okay, you see that very line, and then go up, and then down. Okay, go up, and then down. Okay, go up, and then down. We will critique this in a bit. Okay, go up, and then down. Go up, and then down. Okay, I think this is the one that's correct. I'll do it again. Go up and then down. Oop, that's wrong. Go up. Okay, so we need to load again. Okay, so go up, and down. Oops, wrong. Go up and then down. Go up and then down. Go up and then down. Okay, so let's critique. Okay. All right. Okay. So this first one, okay, angle is wrong. All right. So if you can see, it's very wide. So it should have started here. And then look over here, already it become darker. Right? It should have been, the turn. Then that's where I should have, pressed on it. And then I would end up over here. Okay. So I even went below the line. Right? So, and then this one, again, the angle. Okay. It should be here. Okay, but this one I feel is the best one. So very light. Okay, very, very light. Okay, come on, focus. Okay, so very light. Do the turn and then press hard, finish. Okay, once you're there, that's the time you release. Okay, again, go up, down. This one, okay, it's very similar, the width, right? This is not thick enough, right? So it does take a lot of practice. Right? So I feel that after so many tries, I feel that this is the only one that actually is correct. Right? So it would take a lot of practice. Okay? So basically, but that is how you know or you critique your letters. Okay? So hi Micah 631. Oh, I like your name. Okay, Mira's asleep now. I can focus on this calligraphy. All right. So I'm happy that actually Mira is able to sleep early. This is actually pretty good, right? So thank you, my dear Mira. All right. So the next stroke is this one. So before it was going up is light and then going after the turn heavy. Okay, this one now the stroke number 3 is going down heavy. So you need to open the nib, open the legs, right? Open the legs so that you will release thick line, make thick lines, and then middle through the turn, okay, you release the pressure and then very, very light going up. Okay, that is the third kind of stroke. All right, so let's just load my pen. Okay, and let's see. All right, so again, this one. So instead of the pen, I just tilt my paper, my practice paper. So this is heavy. Okay, so heavy. Okay, open the pen, go down. Okay, and then the turn. Oh, that's very ugly. All right, so again, go down halfway through the turn, release, and up. That's better. Go down halfway through the turn, release. 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 Down halfway through the turn. I think this is a better. The third stroke is a little bit better. It's a little bit more consistent, right? But let's critique it further. Okay, let us focus. So there you go. So as you can see, this one is very bad, right? So there's even what do you call that? Smearing. Okay, so this one is actually quite nice. So very thick one, and then halfway through, release, and then up. Okay, but it's quite thick still. If it could be thinner, that would be better. This one, I feel that look at the top. Okay, so that means that I didn't really put pressure first before I started moving. This is nice. Okay, this one, it's very consistent, right? So I feel that most of my error is I release the pen first, or I start moving first before I actually release the ink, right? And this one, no more ink, right? So that's the third stroke. Okay, so I hope that you are working alongside me and that this is helpful, right? So utterly, I'm also a beginner, don't worry, right? So no expert here. So if you're looking for an expert, this is not the show for you. All right, so now we'll do the combination. Okay, so light stroke up, go down heavy, halfway through, go up light. All right, so let's try to do that. All right, good luck to me. All right, so light stroke, as I said, the lighter stroke, that is my issue. So we go up. Okay, so we go up. Okay, oh, I load it. Okay. Maybe I need to clean. Okay, so go light. Is it go down? Okay, go up. All right, so go up. Wrong. See, it's way too angled. Okay, it has to be a little bit up. Okay, halfway. Okay, and then 3/4 through. Go down, heavy, and then go up. Oh, very, very bad. Go heavy, up. Okay, very light. Go heavy, halfway through, up. Okay, go up, heavy, go up. No, nothing right yet. Okay, go up, halfway through the turn, go down heavy, release, go up. Okay, that's a little better. Go up light, go down, halfway through, go up. Light, go down heavy, up. Light, go down heavy, halfway through, up. Down, up, go down. Okay, so let's check. So look. Let's critique that. This is very bad. Right? So I pressed on that too hard and I basically released maybe half of the inks on my nib. Okay, so this one, look at this part. It's very bad. Right? So it's like wobbly. This one, okay, so you see the thick line went down, but then here, by this time it should have been here already thin. Right? So I feel that I actually wasn't able to do anything right here. Everything seems to be off. This is too thick. I released too early. This is okay, but that line at the end is wrong. Same here. So I do need to practice, like when do I actually make it heavy and then release to make it go light. And then my edges, right? So I often like do like that. Okay, should be just straight. All right, so again, okay, at least we know where we're getting it wrong. So just now we just need to practice more on that one. And then the stroke number 5. All right, so and then we will try to do some words after this. All right, so the stroke number 5 is more like this is called an ellipse, right? So it starts with, okay, so you go down. Okay, so when you go down, it should be heavy. All right, and then okay, halfway, okay, 3/4 way through, you go light. Okay, so heavy, light, heavy, let go light, heavy, let go light, heavy, let go light, okay, heavy. Okay, actually it shouldn't be heavy already on the top. It should go light, heavy, okay, like that, light, heavy. Oh, I think this is best so far. Okay, so light, heavy, close. All right, so let's do some more. I just need to load my nib with ink. Okay, so again, okay, light, heavy. Oh, loaded it too much. Okay. Oh my goodness. The ellipse is actually hard, my friends. harder than it looks like. I feel I didn't make anything correct. All right, let's critique. Wrong, right? So it should be, let's look at our reference. Okay, so do you see that the circle? Okay, or the ellipse? So it's thin on top. Okay, maybe, a fourth way through, darken, and then when you're at the turn, light and consistent thickness, right? So this is, I think all my ellipses are very, very thick already. It means that I am, especially this too, I'm already loading it, or I'm putting already pressure on top when I'm not supposed to. So I think I did nothing right for the ellipse, right? So everything was wrong. Okay, so let's try again. All right, so okay, so like that. Okay, so there. Okay, thin, dark, up, thin. Dark, up, thin. Dark. Okay. I think this is a little better. The angle though is not. And the consistency, is not right. So some are wider, some are thinner, right? So something that I should actually work on. And this didn't even close, right? So copper plate is actually a little bit more strict, but I like it because there's actually a rule, right? And then stroke number 6 actually looks like this. Okay, that's 7. Okay, so this one starts, at the bottom. So you go up light and then go down. Okay, so this one actually starts this way. So you go up light and then go down heavy. Go up light, go down heavy. And 7 is the opposite. Okay, so this one is you start down and then go up. Start down, go up. So the opposite of, number 6. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, and then we will try to combine that and create some of our letters. So most of the practice sets would make you start with lines first, going up, going down, and all of these things, right? So this one was okay. So line going up. Okay, so going up light. Okay, going up is light. Okay, what happened? I loaded properly. Bubbles. Okay, so go up light and then heavy. Okay, so go up light and then heavy. Go up light, heavy. Go up light, heavy. Okay, so it's too wide. Okay, so go up light, go down heavy. Go up light, go down heavy. Go up light, up heavy. Okay, I think but I don't have any more ink. Okay, so you can start with just getting, the chip ink and the nib that is for beginner. Okay, so up and then heavy, up and then heavy, up and then heavy, up and then heavy. Okay, so let's do the opposite. Okay, so this one is okay. So you start with heavy, then up, heavy, then up, heavy, then up. Heavy, then up. This is easier. Heavy, then up. Heavy, then up. Heavy, then up. Okay, so the light to heavy, I find a little bit more difficult. Okay, so already have lines, right? But still, look at that. I keep on not hitting the line. I went over the line and look at that. They're uneven, uneven, uneven. This should be like even, right? So the same thing here. Look at those circles or ellipses. They're not None is the same. Because again, did you see how I make my strokes? They're very fast. Okay. So you're not supposed to be that fast, right? So try to do it slowly. Let's try to do that slower this time. Okay. So go down, up, down, down. Now that's better. Okay. This time, go light, go down, light, go up, light, halfway through, going up. Okay, I think the last ones are better. They're more consistent. Okay, and this one a little bit still not okay, but better than the previous one. All right, so you just practice with that one. Okay, we will practice with that one. And then when you put these letters together, then you can make your alphabets. Okay, so let's start, okay, with the practice sheet that was given to me, okay, by my teacher before. My previous student now became my teacher. Okay, all right, so that's letter A. Okay, so there's that guide over there on the left. Okay, and then we will try to practice. Okay, because I know you would probably want to practice just lines going up. Okay, so you know how to practice when you practice lines going up and lines going down. Okay, so where is my notebook? Okay, where did I put my notebook? Oh, this one. Right, so when you practice lines going up are light. Right, so light. Okay, light. It's actually very thick still. So light, light. Until you have, like muscle memory, light, light, light. See, that's bad. Because, see, it's like I move. I have to I have to tell myself, stop moving too fast. Up, up, up. But I have the tendency to really, I'm very heavy handed. So up, okay, and then you do the downstrokes. So you can practice downstrokes is always heavier. You open the legs, right? So go down, down. These are more consistent. Okay, you see that the top and the bottom are almost all the same. Okay, you know that if you like, let's say you already go down and you're not opening it yet, and then you open there, you see that the top is lighter, right? So it's thinner. So make sure that before you move, before you release, okay, you put down, okay, and then up. Okay, so that would give you more even strokes. So you practice with that, and then you practice with the different strokes first. All right, so since we don't have the luxury of time because this is a live stream, so we will try and go practice some of the letters, and then we will go to brush lettering, right? So Sanam Arts and Ad found S and Stokes. Okay, Griff. Italic case miss. Thick and thin important in calligraphy, miss. Yes, sir. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. Okay, Sanam Arts. Yes. I am not an expert. I am absolutely beginner, and so I truly appreciate that you are here and you are giving us advice. Thank you so much. Yes, I know that thin lines are very important, and that's why Sanam, I'm really struggling with that, right? Video, some blur. Yes, right. So when I move, it kind of gets blurred. So sorry about that. So okay, especially when I move, there you go. Sorry about that, Sanam. Right? So I will, okay, just follow the outline like so. Okay, and then okay, go down. See, I'm already following an outline and then still can't do it. All right, so thin, go down heavy, up, light, and then heavy. So ugly. I'm sorry. Okay, so go up, thin. Okay, go down heavy, go up. Ah, see, it's wrong. Ah, wrong. Okay, again. Go down, up, heavy, up, and heavy, and like that. Oh, this one doesn't end there. See, I'm wrong. Okay, the guide says go up to that line. Ah, this is so stressful. I know it shouldn't be stressful. It should be easy. But yes, it's kind of difficult, but I'm trying my best. All right, so okay. And then go down heavy, release up, heavier, up. I think that looks a little better. Okay, but I think okay, up, down heavy, up. They all look the same to me. Okay, none is thin, none is thick. All right, so go up, down, ugly. Okay. All right, don't worry. Okay. Okay, so practice. So go down, go up. If I can make just one stroke, okay, I'll be happy. All right, so go down heavy, go up. Ah. Okay, again, up, up. Yay! I think I got one. Yes! I think I got this one better or the best. This one's absolutely not. This one's okay. I feel at least I got one. Woo! All right. So, anyways, okay, so I will definitely have to practice a lot. Okay, but at least, I started and hopefully I can actually, do more of these. Okay, and then, oh my goodness, that is horrible. All right, again. Okay, so let's do this way. And then that way. Oh no, that shouldn't be the case. Should have ended there and then I did like that. Okay, wrong. Okay, so this way. Like that. Okay, and then maybe light. This is hard. Okay. Okay, let's look at the chat. Maybe Sanam is giving us giving us tips. Okay, we'll definitely check out your channel, my friend. Okay, and learn from you. Okay, and maybe hopefully in the future we can invite you over as a guest. As I plan to really learn to do this a little bit better by the end of the year. Okay, that's better, but I forgot that. Okay, so again, okay, up, down, okay, right, down, this one, okay, up, down. Ah, wrong. So the strokes do not come to me naturally just yet, right? So hopefully in the future, as I try to practice some more, okay, I would be more mindful of how the strokes need to be done. Really ugly. Ah, I wanna cry. So this and this, and then that. Ah, okay. D. Right? No, we will not give up on the D. I will not move on to C until I finish this D. So, good. Heavy, light, down. God, too much. I loaded it too much. Like that, that. Okay. Okay, I'm not ignoring you, my friends. I'm just so stressed with this letter D. This is awful. All right, last line. Okay, because I have no more lines. Up, down, down. They all look very thick to me. There you go, thin lines. Maybe I should breathe. I'm not breathing. Okay, and then dark. Okay, let's try again. Okay, go. It's too dark. Up, dark, up, down, up. I really have a problem with like thin the upstroke, upstroke, downstroke. Okay, that has to do a little bit more practice. It is. Do you feel my pain? Yes, it's very easy for others to see. Some grace, my friend. You're doing wonderful. Remember to be kind. Oh, thank you, Yvette. It's just, it's hard. I wanna cry. This letter D is not friendly. Okay, let's do one more letter D. Come on, letter D. Your friend. Okay. Dark. Wrong again. Dark. Again. Light. Dark. Dark. I think I'm gonna give up on D because I have no more space. So let's do letter C now. Okay, so letter C is this way, down. Gosh. Okay, thing is, this part should be heavy. So maybe I should start C. Okay, so go up, heavy, down, and then go down, heavy, and then light. Why are they all the same thickness? Really, muscle memory isn't there, my friends. Breathe. Breathe. Okay. Lines. Okay, I went down, so I should have opened that a bit. And then go down, heavy, up. Wrong. Go up, thin, thick, thick. Okay, so maybe I should do it like not one stroke. Okay, so let's go up, up, go down thick, go down thick, go up thin. Oh my goodness! I think that is better. Still not good enough, but better than all of these. Jing jing. All right, again. Up, down, stroke heavy, Upstroke. So I should stop. Okay. Upstroke. Downstroke heavy. Go up light. Downstroke heavy. And then, oh, wrong angle. Okay. I think I'm kind of getting this. I think. Okay. So kind of. So the thing is, I was always doing it in like one pass. So I think by breaking it into different parts, it's easier for me. Lighter. And then I go down for the heavy stroke. And then I go up light stroke. And then down for the heavy stop. And then go light. Okay. It's loaded with ink. Too much ink. Okay. So up. Down. Up. Heavy. Heavy. Stop. Oh, okay. Heavy. 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 Light. Light. Heavy. Heavy. Okay. Is this so painful to watch, my friend? All right. So up, heavy. Go down, up, light. Ah, that's another good one. I feel that's a good one. Okay, up, heavy. Ah, bad. Light, heavy, heavy, light, light, heavy, heavy, up, then go up, heavy. Okay, let's try to combine. Go up, heavy. Okay, so go up, heavy, heavy. Oh, too much ink. Okay, up, heavy, heavy, and light. See, this one is not as light as that one. I really need to control the pressure. La la, light, 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 light. Why is my upstroke very, very thick? Okay, you know, it's like the brain and the hands are not coordinating, my friends. Up, up. The light stroke, light stroke, light, light, light. That's what light should look like, Lana. It's like everything seems to be thick. Okay. Sorry, my friends. I really want to make at least one. Give me one. Okay, go up, go up. Very light. See, this is not light. Light. Hey, they're all both they look the same. I want light. Come on, give me light. How do I make light? Light. 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 Heavy. All right. Heavy. Oh, that's too much. Light. Light. Heavy. Heavy. Okay, that's better. Heavy. Heavy. Oh, no more ink. Light. See, better if I have no more ink. Again. There. Getting better. There. Getting better. All right, so those E are better. Okay, how about this E? How do you do the E? Light, heavy. Okay. I feel the E is it easier? Okay, so light, heavy, light. Coming from a heavy to the light is hard. So light, heavy, light. Light, heavy, light. Oh. Light, heavy. Light, heavy. Okay. Light, heavy. It's too heavy. Light, heavy. Light, heavy. Light, heavy. Light, heavy. Light, heavy. Light. Yeah, maybe I should stop. Okay, so light, break, heavy, break, light. Oh, yeah. Light, break, heavy, and light. Yeah, maybe I could stop, right? Which country? Okay. Oh, you use brush pen. Rice explain. Okay, which country? I'm from the Philippines, Sanam. Yes, utterly beginner here. Utter beginner here. Slowly. I know, Wims. I have to slow down, right? Okay. Bye-bye. All right, bye, Sanam. Okay. Okay, so let's try S. Okay, so let's do S. Okay, before we do the brush pen. All right, so S. S. Oh, S is easy. Up and down. Up and down. Oh, S is easy, friends. Finally. So I struggle with O, E, and C. Okay, I think the one with ellipses. Yes, hard. So this one has another ellipse. So that's the letter G. Okay, so let's try up, down, heavy. It's the up. It's the up, Wims. What do I do with the ups? Go down, heavy, light. Up. Down is heavy. Up is light. Heavy. Okay, so you do like that, heavy, and then light. Okay, again. Okay. Because I'm writing, I think I'm doing this like I'm writing. Okay, you can stop, Lala. You can stop. So light. Oh, that's not light. Light. It's not light. See, I really struggle with light, my friends. No, it's not light. Ah, light. Come on, give me light. Light. Nothing light. Light. Heavy. Light. Heavy. Light. Heavy. Light. Heavy. Light. It's too much ink, Lala. Heavy. heavy, go up, light, heavy. I think that's better. Actually, the easier is the brush nib. Okay, go up, heavy, down, up, heavy. Ay. Okay. Heavy. Heavier. What am I doing? Okay, up, heavy. Down, heavy. Light. Heavy. It's too loaded. It's too much ink. Okay. Heavy. Down. Up, light. There. That's what it should look like. That's what it should look like. Okay, I'm almost okay. After this one, I'm gonna go to brush calligraphy. So go up. Do you see the struggle, my friend, with me is the light and the heavy. Up, heavy, up, down, light. Do you see? Light, light. Barely gliding. There. Heavy. Oh, and then I have no more ink. Heavy. I think maybe I should not load it too much, so I won't have very. Okay. So up. Heavy. Heavy. Up. Nope. Ugly. Up. Heavy. Heavy. Up. Thick lines. Okay. All right. So let's practice. Okay. So that's with the nib pen. Obviously, I need a lot of practice. Okay. Just cleaning my pen. Okay. So just dipping it in water. Okay. So that I can clean. All right. So now let's try with the brush pen. Okay, my friends. Let's try it with the brush pen. Okay, so let's use this brushables. Okay, from Zig. Okay, so let us see. Okay, so again, so just. Okay, so let's go back to this because this is, I think, what I need. All right, so thick lines. So go down. Go down. I think I'm better with thick lines. Okay. So thick lines down. Thick lines down. Thick lines down. Right? So how about thick lines that are longer? Okay. So thick lines down. Thick lines down. Thick lines down. Thick lines down. So you see this one, the edge. Okay, so it should be like that. Okay, so okay. All right. So it not be don't go down yet, and then see it's like pressure, go down, lift. Go down, lift. Go down, lift. Okay. Bye-bye, Sanam. Okay, bye, Yvette. Anarit, hello, my friend. Okay, how about letter V? Okay, so letter V, this is really more for, what do you call that? Copper plate. Okay, but let's try to just make it a little bit wider. So downstroke, downstroke, up. downstroke, up, downstroke, up. Okay, this one's the letter L, downstroke. Oh, see, it stops like half, 3/4 of the way. Downstroke, up, heavy, halfway, 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 lighten, halfway, lighten, halfway, lighten. Okay, it should be earlier, Lala. Halfway, lighten. Okay, that's better. Halfway, lighten, halfway, lighten, halfway, lighten, halfway, lighten. Okay, this one, go up and heavy, go up and heavy, go up and heavy, go up and heavy. This is better. This is a combination. Okay, so go up, heavy, up, go up, heavy, up, go up, heavy, up, go up, heavy. Okay, again, Wim said slow down. Slow down. Okay. Heavy. Up. Down. Up. Down. Up. Go down. Up. Okay, that's better. Go. Up. Go. See, I find it easier with brush pen. Because maybe I don't need to load the ink. AL, this is my name. Okay, light, heavy, light, heavy, light, heavy, light, heavy, light, heavy. Oh, that's better. Light, heavy. You can really see the difference between the light, heavy, right? So light, heavy. All right. So I feel that, compared to nib pen, I feel that I struggle more with nib pen than brush markers. So let's try a different brush pen. Okay, let me see. I have this one this is from Faber-Castell. Okay, so let us try to use, okay, where is my pad? Okay. Okay, so let's use this pad. Okay, so that it has the right angle that we can follow. Okay. So for example, who is in the chat? Okay, Wims. Oh gosh, Wims is W. It's so hard. Right. So let's say hand. This says I feel no ink. Okay. No more ink. It has dried. Okay, let's choose another. What happened to my brush pens? Okay, let's try another one. Okay, let's try Anne again. Okay, so light, heavy, light, heavy, light, heavy, heavy, and okay, I think that's better. So, bed. Okay, let's use this time around this Kuretake. Okay. Okay, let's do Yvette. Heavy. Up is light. Heavy. Light. heavy, light. It should be heavy. Go up is light and then down, light. Yvette, that's not so nice. Let's try again. There we go. Light. There we go. Light. Heavy. Light. Go down. Heavy. Light. Heavy. Light. Heavy. Light. Heavy. Light. See, that's not right. This one is very thick. Let's try again. Light, heavy, light, heavy, light, heavy, heavy, heavy. Okay, I think that's better. Why? Sorry. Trying to use different pens that we have. Let me see. What else do I have? Okay, let me see. Oh, this one. The Koiro. Okay, who is also in the chat. Okay, Wims. I'm so afraid of W. But let's do Wims. Okay, light, heavy. Light, heavy. Light, heavy. Heavy. Light, heavy. Light, heavy. Heavy. All right, I think that's better, Wims. All right. Okay, so let's try again using brush pens. Okay, so let's try Mira. This is more brush lettering. Okay, again, Mira. Ah, very thick. Right, so let's try Anne again. Heavy, thin, heavy, heavy, thin. It's like everything is thick. Where's the N now? Ah, The E again. All right. And then the E. That's better. All right. So I think that's better. That is better. All right. So who else is there a while ago? Okay, let's do Sam. Okay. Nope. Ugly. Everything seems to be too thick. Nope. Ah, but it's, yeah, I think that's better. Okay, how about, mhm. I think my M, they should be a little bit more like together. Yeah, I think that one rather than that one, right? So let's try again, Sam. Okay, so let's try again. Okay, Sam. How about Sammy? Oh, ugly. What is that? They're all thick lines. Again. Ah! You know, when Sam does this, she does it with a like bouncy way of doing it. Okay, Sammy Pai. She does like, for example, like my name would be something like this. Oh, right? So, and then my A would be here. And then the next L will be there. And then A would be here. Something like that, right? So it's not like, it's not the same line. It's like me, my brush calligraphy still looks like a, what do you call, the nib pen, but just, you know, with the use of markers. Hello. Oops, that's wrong. See, again, because I when I do it, it's so fast. Right, so slow. All right. Okay. So I think what I want to do, okay, before I end is to come up with like, probably like place card holder, something like that. All right. So let's create something. All right. So before we end, okay, so I would stamp like a bit of a background, just a subtle background, so that I will. Okay, so let's kind of do that. Okay, and see how it would, kind of look like. Okay, so let's do this one. This is from Pink Fresh. It's a this one. Is it Pink Fresh? No, it's MFT. This is from MFT. It's a background stamp. All right. So, and it is a cling stamp. Right. So I would remove this one. Okay. And I would, put this. Okay. But since, okay, let me see. I can make two. Yeah, I can use two. Okay. You know what? I might probably just use my, because this is kind of big. Let's use the stamp wheel for this one. Okay, so that it also has a sticky mat. Okay, so it's too tight. Let's zoom out a bit. All right, there you go. All right, so let's do two at a time. Okay, so we will end by creating something like a name card holder. All right, so something like that. So let's just use the lightest, okay, let's say the mountain mist, okay, that I have to create like a background. And then we will do like a background stamp for this, for that one. Okay. Again, the reason why we also want to do calligraphy, so that we can, add it on to our projects, right? So just a very subtle, background like so. Okay. Okay, and then we will try to, make it, what do you call this? Dry it a little bit. Okay, so let's do some more. Okay, so that if ever we mistake, right, so we can have extras. Okay, so let's see, where's my, I used this stamp before. I feel it's not yet conditioned. Okay, so we will try. Right. Okay. Oh, is Paul here? Love Audio Production? Yes, Love Audio Production. That's Paul, our dear friend from the UK. Oh, that's awesome. So Wims is stamping butterflies. Oh, I thought you were drawing butterflies, Wims. Right? So she is stamping butterflies. And this one is a background stamp from my favorite things. I'm actually very sad that, my favorite companies for stamps and dies for a very long time will actually be closing soon. I'm so happy that at least I got to meet, some of the staff and owners while I was there like 2 years ago. They're all amazing, amazing people. The community is awesome. I wish them well. Oh, look at that. The middle part did not. Anyways, no perfection. Right. So let's go for this one. These are like ATC size cards, right? So let me see what colors do I have here. So that's actually a mountain mist. Okay, so what are the colors? What could go with that? Okay, so maybe this one. Let me see. All right. Okay. So let's do for this one whims. This is it, pansit. Whims. Okay, and this will go to Anne. Okay, and this will go to. Okay, who else is in the chat? Hi, Paul. There you go. Give this to Paul. All right, Paul. Okay, and then the last one. Let's bring it and let's give it to. Who else was in the chat earlier? Oh, Yvette. Yeah. I'm cheating here. Yvette. All right. So at least I did like. Okay, so for me, I feel that brush calligraphy is because somehow there's no really right or wrong with brush calligraphy because it's more really like a creative expression more so than with the original kind of calligraphy where it's really obvious when you mess it up because there's really uh, a template that everybody knows of, right? So I feel that brush calligraphy for crafters anyway would be a great way to use, but I will not give up. Oh, sorry about that. I will not give up on the nib calligraphy. I just probably need to learn also how to not load my pen, my nibs too much, right? And I feel that those things, you can actually learn through practice. Just like what our dear friend Sanam in the chat said earlier. He did actually give me advice. Right. He was I'm sure he must be so frustrated. It's like I can imagine somebody watching me. It's like it's so painful to watch her do this. Right? But that's okay. Remember the story of a butterfly, how a butterfly actually, you know, um, becomes a butterfly from a pupa in a cocoon. if you actually fast forward the process by helping it get out of the cocoon, it will actually not be able to fly and die, right? So I think it's the same way with any kind of artistic journey and crafting journey. In the beginning, it might be a little bit of a struggle, and that's fine because that's how we learn, right? So mistakes are actually, blessings, as they are, that's why I don't throw away, just yet, okay, my practice sheets, so that you can go back, refer to it, and learn from it. All right. So again, I would like to thank you so much for joining me tonight. So again, this is going to be a continuous series for the rest of August. So coming up next are so many other things like the basics of Decoden, the basics of ribbon, okay, which you could use to create wreaths and other stuff. Basics of pom pom making, right? Basics of what else? I was going through my stash. I saw so many other things, right? So many other things that we could really use or go for as different crafty avenues. I also would want to do some heat pressing, right? So the last time the last item I think that I got was a hot press, and I actually haven't used that just yet, right? So yes, let's do some button pressing as well. So if you do have a request for a basic crafty thing, that I might not have mentioned just yet, then please, do message me on Instagram or on Facebook, and I will try to include that as one of the basic things that we would want to cover during this month of August. I actually did a post. I think I saw Wims post something about, using her scraps. And I said, what a great idea, right? That for maybe the month of September, of everything will just be all about scraps, right? So again, okay, thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope that you would, please do give a like, okay, in the what do you call this, in this video, if you're still here or if you're watching on replay. And yes, please do share away. So there is a playlist actually at the description of this video where you can go through the different, basics that I go through. All right. So this and yesterday's topic, where it's about coloring, are actually things that I'm absolutely consider myself a beginner, just like you who might be watching this and just starting to learn how to do this. And yes, please don't forget to hit that notification bell so you do get notified when I go live. And yes, don't forget to subscribe, right? So and like this video. With that, I thank you so much. All right, thank you again, Paul, for dropping by. And Wims, okay, I wish you well, and I'm sure you're gonna be able to create another awesome ephemera and put that in another awesome project that you will submit somehow, and you will inspire everybody else. All right. Thank you so much for joining me again today, and see you again tomorrow for another crafty nights here at Mummy Guide Inc. Have a great rest of the day. See you again.